I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video, we're going to have a look at how to make money during the bear market. Obviously, this could be a potential possibility with the current movement of Bitcoin. We might go up, we might go down, nobody knows. Nothing in this video is financial advice, it is for entertainment purposes only. I am going to take into consideration the possible low, whether that is for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months. I want to have a plan where the market is down, I make money, and where the market is up, I make money. I have a video on my channel where I sketched out my 2022 plan. I'm going to update this in this video for a full plan on how to make money during the bear market. So I've already taken some steps, some action steps towards this plan because I'm looking for consistency, consistent yields. I will stick with my original plan. However, I do have some minor adjustments, and of course I like to share my opinion, my journey on this YouTube channel. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already, and if you're nice, in a good mood, leave a comment down below and we can have a little conversation. Anyway, Bitcoin is in a downward trend. As of basically the last 7 days, it's become worse and worse, right? So over the last 3 months, hitting basically that 66K point, it went in a linear downward trend, some ups, some downs, and hiccups. And basically the last 7 days, it plummeted from 43K all the way down to 34K. Now the question is, what do I know about technical analysis? Nothing. What do I know about the market? Also very little, right? So I'm just using my common sense in trying to make the best out of the current situation. Fortunately for me, I was well prepared. So when something happened not too long ago, I wasn't prepared. So let me zoom out here, which was actually was that 2021? Yeah, that was the start of 2021. So I built up my portfolio at the end of 2020, which was about here. I entered the market again after leaving it in 2017. So I've been in the market for quite a long time, right? So from 2017, right? I enjoyed this first run here. That was basically my first. I got in about October, so right after the initial pump, and then I got in right here. But if you want to know that entire story, go to my channel, different video. Basically, I built up my portfolio to 100K about here, and then I had to give away half of my portfolio when the market turned down a little bit. So that was my first big lesson, to always take profit and move stuff into stable coins, which is what I did, fortunately, on this huge pump. Right, just you pump right there. As soon as it signaled a little bit of a downward trend, I moved most of my assets into stable coins. I did make some purchases along the way, on the way down, some of which I'm still holding, some of which I'm no longer holding. However, I have de-escalated my portfolio, basically meaning that the last 7 days, I have had a proper look at the longevity of what I'm doing. Going back to my original 2022 plan, we have a lot of long-term holds, of which I'm currently holding nothing. We have a lot of short-term holds, of which I'm holding only Cryo War at the moment, and Soul Chicks, whichever remains during the vesting. Right? I'm still holding the AnyPad, and I have no reserve Launchpads other than AnyPad. Right, so I do want to basically discuss all the things here on the right hand side because those play a huge role in my current strategy. So whether the market is up or the market is down, my main thing is that I need to make money. If the money is idle and not doing anything, it's going to be hit by inflation and not going to be worth the same thing in the long term, right? The money will become worth less if it's just sitting there. This is from a more advanced point of view, I would say. We're not talking about $10,000 here, right? We're talking about multiple 6 figures in portfolio value. Do take that into consideration. So the first thing I did was basically look at my NFT portfolio, right? So as per my plan, I have been downscaling that NFT portfolio to basically only focus on what my original plan was, top tier NFTs, big on big, right? I'm looking for elite communities. I'm looking for specific exponential opportunities that I wouldn't say no to. So I wrote down on my 2022 plan to basically hold my NeoTokyo S2 for the long term. My 15 Soul Chicks I would dump in March 2022. My Sin City blueprints as a sell-off, I've already sold those, so those are gone. And then I have my own NFT series coming up on which I have more information later. So the top tier NFTs, big on big, NeoTokyo S2 for the long term, right? So I'm going to move that one because I'm still holding that outer identity, which the value is about 15 Ethereum. So that's quite good, right? 15 ETH. I'm just going to put that there. That's a long-term focus, right? I wouldn't really sell this. When we look at Alex Becker, follow me on Twitter if you're not following me. And this image already spills the beans a little bit, but let's continue. So they just did the meta tournament yesterday, $1 million in prize money, playing crap game. But there were some interesting tweets about the S2 outer identities, which I want to show. All right, before we get going, you notice last post I said meta tournaments, right? This is just a kickoff. In 2 weeks, our S2 citizens will battle for their items, again live on Twitch, then their land. Look at the value ranges on S1 items and lands, winning will matter, right? So if you look at OpenSea, right, and you look at, let's say, a NeoTokyo citizen, the floor currently is about 42 Ethereum, right? If you want to build your own citizen, you would need to have an identity, right? So the outer identity is S2, the floor is 8.29 for a common. If you want to build your own identity, you basically need your own citizen. You need an identity, which is about 30 Ethereum. You need an item cache, which is part 3, which is about 2.1 ETH floor. So these are all the floor prices, right? And there's a quite difficult rarity. You would need a land deed to get that going, and obviously the fold. One of them is optional, so it's this 11 Ethereum already, and then a fold card, which I think the fold cards are optional, or the item cache are optional, but 6.7. So basically at a full citizen, you're still looking at about 40 to 60 Ethereum, right? You can build one, you can buy one. And the S2s, the outer identities, of which I have one listed right here. I have a medium allocation, quite good on the rarity scale, so it's about 15 Ethereum. There will be an opportunity, of course. I'm going to play and try to earn some land, because as you can see, these things you can earn for free, and they are quite expensive, specifically focused on the long term. There will only ever be 2,000 citizens and 4,000 outer identities. For once, when it all started 6 months ago, even the citizens were free. You need to participate in a lot of games, a lot of riddles, but they were free essentially, and now they are very expensive, right? So this is definitely my long-term focus. My number one goal for this year, as I did in my 2022 plan video, was to be big on big. My ultimate goal was to get a NeoTokyo Citizen 1, which I did yesterday, right? So I did get my NeoTokyo Citizen 1, which was about 60 Ethereum, which obviously is not cheap, but I took advantage of obviously that Ethereum dip, right? So 60 Ethereum a month ago would be $4,000. 60 Ethereum 2 days ago was about, or like day and a half ago, because yesterday was my birthday, so I gave it to myself as a birthday gift, was about 2.4K, right? So definitely around $160,000. Sounds a little retarded if I'm saying it out loud, but yeah. Obviously, I've been extremely impressed when I went to the Discord and got access to, because with the S2, you don't get access to the private Discord of the actual Citadel, and I was blown away with the value. So I basically wanted to get this to be in the inner circle, right? I always say your net worth is your network is your net worth. And to get into those top circles, they have information which I need to get to the next level. I'm developing my own projects. I need connections, and these assets can bring me the connections. So definitely, in the last day and a half, already learned a lot on what I want to do for my own NFT club, which is called Digits Club, which will be releasing this quarter. And basically, I'm learning a lot from them, how they structure it, but the value is just overwhelming, far beyond my expectation. People told me before, I talked with some citizens, they said like, oh yeah, this is nothing like you have ever seen before. And I was like, yeah, obviously you're going to tell me this is nothing like you ever seen before because you want me to join. But then I actually joined, and it was beyond my expectations, the value that I saw in this community. They're on voice calls all day long. People are making notes about the voice calls. They're being published in PDF. It's like amazing, a completely different world. So much going on. So I have the NeoTokyo S1. I have the NeoTokyo S2. I'm going to utilize the S2 to basically participate in the tournament, have some fun, try to win some items, and hopefully upgrade this so it's worth something. So why did I actually buy the S1, right? One part of it is obviously the connections, the circle that you're now in a certain circle of influence. You know, I spoke on this channel before a lot about Animoca brands, right? It's like a venture capital firm that I'm following. They invest heavily into the metaverse. The CEO is a NeoTokyo citizen. The owners of Seedify, Illuvium, Vulcan Forged, right? They're Sin City, My Pet Hooligan. They're all inside NeoTokyo as one citizens, right? So you can talk with them, pick their mind. You can ask them for feedback, and that community is like a cult, right? So anybody who's not in the community, they don't like, and everybody who is in the community, they love. So they're very helpful. But yeah, it's kind of cultish, I have to admit. But yeah, as long as you're on the inside, then it's all good, right? Overall, when we look at this potential, there is another good thing, is it earns bytes. So bytes is the NeoTokyo currency. It's currently sitting at the Bitcoin dip at about $51. On average, it's about $90, I think, $90 to $100. Let's say $100 on average, right, throughout time. So for the last 3 months, since NeoTokyo has been running. The contract says you will earn bytes for at least 5 years after the deployment. These things, when they do these major tournaments, so this was the minting, I believe, of the S2 identities, they need to burn bytes. So any major event NeoTokyo is hosting, they burn bytes. And obviously, when you burn bytes, the supply becomes less and demand stays the same, so the price goes up. There's this cool site, so I'm earning 2 bytes per day. I can claim 3 bytes. My daily yield at the current price is about $103. My monthly yield is $3,222. My annual yield is $37,946. I want to make this calculation just to show the yield, because I'm quite interested in that specific yield. That was the other reason. So the first reason I bought into the NeoTokyo S1 identity, or the S1 citizen, was for the connections. The other part is obviously for the yield. So I earn 2 bytes every single day, right? So we have day, week, month, year, right? So basically the value of bytes on average, let's say, is $100. So per day, that would be 2 times 100. So this is 2 times 100 times 7, 2 times 100 times 30 on average, 2 times 100 times 365. Right, so this is basically your average return that you would be looking at. So on an annual basis, you would earn about 73K holding just the NFT with the bytes that it's generating on average, right? You would have to take into consideration the current price. You can stack up these bytes, and as soon as the next major event happens, which is probably going to be in the next 2 weeks, I won't have enough bytes, but when they're doing the tournament, you would have to burn bytes in order to participate, right? So that is like the system they use to counter the inflation of the actual bytes being yielded. Some of the very expensive citizens yield 15 bytes per day. I have one of the cheapest ones, which is already 60 Ethereum, which yield about 2 bytes per day, right? So if I go back to OpenSea, there's like a reward rate on the site. So the cheapest one right now is 42. I wanted one with a weapon and with a vehicle. I was doubting between this one or the one that I actually purchased, and they were both nice, but these ones are all cheaper. They are cheap for a reason, right? They're still not cheap, but you can imagine. So let's say you want 5 bytes per day, right? Which is about $500 a day in yield. That will cost you about 85 Ethereum as the floor price, and it quickly goes to 100, right? Let's say you want 10 bytes per day, which is basically $1,000 a day, right? On average, it's 225 Ethereum, which is about $500,000, right? You would earn $1,000 a day in bytes, but you would have to put up $500,000. So it's like an equation, right? And this one is also quite crazy. Or this one earns 13 bytes per day, right? So about $1,300 on average. But then again, like I said, it's $500,000, which is quite crazy. Anyway, this is just something I wanted to show you because it is the foundation of my long-term strategy. Whatever happens in the market, whatever the price of bytes actually does, right, it will pull back to the average because of these major events which have influence. You just need to stack them. You're also not going to claim them every day because it's on the Ethereum blockchain. And bytes to bytes is actually quite nice because it shows you how many bytes you can claim. And the next byte is being generated in 8 hours, right? So quite good, quite happy about my decision there. So this is everything on the long-term NFT side of things. Other than that, I'm not really interested too much in the NFTs. I do hold some other NFTs which I'm trying to sell. So I'm not going to add them to this list, right? These are basically two of the same project. There's already such an insane amount of information being released in this community alone that I don't even have time to consume. So definitely I do not have time to add another valuable community, one of which can, for example, be like Journey Club, where they talk more about NFTs, not really about IDOs and Launchpads and stuff, which I'm more into. So not too long ago, I think a month ago, I decided to sell that NFT because I needed liquidity. It was only like 3 Ethereum anyway. But that might be more of a beginner entry point, Journey Club, or of course Digits Club if you're into Launchpads, coming soon to the blockchain near you. Anyway, so we have that NFT portfolio. Now the question is, one thing I did look at, taking into consideration the downward trend of Bitcoin, what about something that could earn me money while the market is still down? Because everybody's saying like, oh, middle of February, we're going to go back to the moon. And at the end of the day, it's all technical analysis, right? It's just a prediction. It's not facts. It's not guaranteed. All we know right now that we were high, now we're low, and we can never be low or high without the other, right? It's just a pattern, how the market works. Fear, greed play a big role in this. Take profit, institutionalized investors taking entries, all to be taken into consideration. The most important thing for me is look at the long term, and you can still see a huge pattern, or at least even the 1 year chart, right? The recovery, I would say if we compare this to this, the recovery would be imminent. It might take a while. So this was the 5th to the 7th, 2 months. It might take too much of a bearish pattern before we go up again, but we will go up in the long term, right? That's what I believe, and that's how I want to set up my assets, right? So for the Launchpads, we have to think, which basically the next topic I would like to discuss. I'm holding 5, so any pad, basically for the high allocation. So I'll be holding that long term, and I have about 500,000 APAD, which is the maximum, and 3 NFTs. So plus 3 NFTs. With the NFTs only give allocation for private sales and not always. But yeah, 500k AnyPad per wallet is the maximum, which basically gets me always more than $1,000 allocation basically. So one big problem with the bearish pattern of the market is that when we look at Launchpads, they obviously are investment vehicles, right? Kind of. So they need to raise money. That's their sole purpose for new projects. And when the market is fearful, so let's see the fear and greed index to see where we are. So we're in extreme fear still, even worse than yesterday, right? People tripping. Then the problem is that these projects are not going to raise much money. They're not going to raise a lot of money, right? And the main problem with this, in my opinion, is that a lot of launches will delay. So we've seen Dotpad in the last few days, Sin City delayed, iTextPad delayed, so many launches, SoulChicks was delayed, Monkey Ball delayed. All of these launches in the last month and a half, all delayed because of the market conditions, right? After they delayed once, they can really not delay again because it would ruin their reputation. However, probably 60 to 70% of the actual launches, the IDOs, private sales, they would be delayed, right? Because they hope for better market conditions. If the market is green and they launch, investors feel more comfortable to take a little bit more risk. They're a little bit more greedy, which means they can actually raise the amount of money they're looking to raise, right? If we go, for example, to CDFI to have a look on their Launchpad, they got Cybertrade. They don't have as many projects as they normally would. However, they have a long list. Animalia was supposed to launch next week and is back again to be announced. Sin City was already delayed, so they couldn't delay again. However, Animalia did delay their IDO, and I'm assuming from this whole list here, they won't be the only one delaying. I do understand why these projects delay. However, I also see that they're still filling the entire cap. So why would you delay unless internally nothing is working with your VZs and stuff like that, in my opinion. So I'm going to make a long-term play on Launchpads. Why? Because I think I can get in for cheap right now. The main Launchpad I've been following in my Discord with my private community, if you're not there, join through the link in the description down below, is Firestarter, right? So Firestarter, I have covered in videos twice. They have quite some potential. I'm looking at the entry, but I'm looking at Bitcoin basically bottoming out at about 32,000. So it's right now 35. I follow basically the only guy, Eric Crown, on his technical analysis. I watch his videos every day. I don't really understand much of it, but I do take his advice because it seems that he's quite right quite often. And I do try to use my own brain as well, sometimes. 35.8k currently. He's saying that we're going to see 32k. That's why I'm still holding everything in stables and have not yet made an entry. I'm looking to make an entry on Firestarter for their guaranteed allocation. So the guaranteed allocation at this point is quite significant already. It is about, I think one token is one flame power. So it's about 25,000 tokens, which is about 12k-ish when it drops down to 50 cents. And I'm able to spend that easily, right? So I'm looking to make an entry basically on Firestarter and push it into a long-term hold position for about 25,000 tokens, right? But I don't have this one yet. It's just something that I'm considering. And the problem is people ask me for advice all the time. I always tell you I never give financial advice. I'm just documenting my journey and expressing my opinions through these funny YouTube videos. But the thing is, my mind changes very quickly. So now I like Firestarter, next week I might dislike it. Before, I burned them to the ground for having shit allocation system with a lottery. But then I realized I don't really give a fuck if I'm in the flame and I have guaranteed allocation, right? So I would be looking at, where's the fucking leaderboard? So the Hero NFT, I might also think is interesting. So we go back to OpenSea. Hero NFT, Hero, Firestarter, Metaverse collection. Yeah, that's the one of the flames, but I'm looking for the heroes. So these are the flames that might be like popping. They're only $20. Flares. These might develop into actual NFTs later on still, but I'm actually looking for the actual, nope, there's like an overview where they give you links. Maybe it's at the FAQ section. Nope. Anyway, it's about, here we go. Flame tokens, lock flame, the NFTs, hero. You can't click it though. So the hero NFT, the last time I checked it at least, it was about 8 Ethereum. So that's still at the current price quite expensive, right? We're still looking at about $20,000. But that would give you a guaranteed allocation for every project. And you could then stack additional tokens. Still, you're looking at top tier 30,000 ish dollars, right? But for me, for a long-term play, that is fine. I would have to be confident, but the thing is, what I like about Firestarter, the projects that they select, right? So if I could, I would participate in Cybertrade, and if I could, I would participate in Lumia Crown. I have covered Lumia Crown extensively on this channel. I haven't seen Animal Concerts yet, but it's already closed as well, and it's on the ETH blockchain, so I don't like that. But yeah, they do have some good potential. So this is one I'm considering. The other one that I'm considering is Good Games Guild. They have like a Launchpad, so the token is super cheap right now. This would be like a hybrid choice between holding the token because it came from such a high point, and the market cap is ridiculously low right now in my opinion. And they have like a Launchpad for Metaverse, so I would just stake this to get like the value of the staking increase, the APY, and the additional benefit is I would get allocation, but they only launched one project so far, so I don't think it will move that quick. But this is something else that I'm considering, so I'll just put that here. Good Games Guild, and I don't even know, it's called Metaverse Pad or whatever, something like that. That would also be like a long-term thing, right? So other than that, right now my main focus would be stable coins, right? So that's everything for the Launchpads. I'm going to keep it quite simple. Oh, and I have obviously my strategic rounds. So the strategic rounds is not through Launchpad, it's like through individual incubations, which is also like long-term. The vestings are really long. That's why I need my Trackdigits.com, right? The software platform I'm developing to basically track all the vesting tracking. The reason is otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. So the strategic rounds, that's also like a long-term play, but you need to have strong connections, and I cannot help you with that. So for most people this is out of reach. Then I have like stable coins, right? So I primarily have BUSD, and I have, let's say, 25% of my all portfolios combined currently in stable coins. So that's a lot of stable coins that I've accumulated, and I'm basically waiting for the market indications to be aligned to make entries into gaming projects, right? So the only gaming projects I'm holding right now is Chumbi Valley and Cryo War. I have taken Eartha out of the equation, actually. That happened yesterday. Because I think we will dip more, and I did get a break-even situation on Eartha, so maybe it's up again today. No, so I got out at about 25.6, which was nice because I got in at like 24.9. I only had like 7.5k left in it, but I took an exit. I do believe still in it long term. I'm just looking to see what the market is going to do. And having acquired such expensive NFTs, I rather feel more comfortable in the stable coins. So these are the only two products that I'm holding right now. Chumbi Valley, which is staked for up until April, and Cryo War, because it's my passion project, right? Everybody tells me just fuck off Cryo War, but I just like this too much. This is like a personal favorite, right? I got in at $1. I think it's 40 cents right now. 51, so it went up today, but it's been quite a while ride coming from $1, right? So it basically follows the pattern like linear downward trend with Bitcoin, but it's all good. I put in 10k, right now it's still 5k, so minus 5k, but this is a very long-term hold for me. So this is long-term, and this is very long-term, so we're looking at 6 to 12 months, and in the crypto market I would say that's like long-term. Right, I'm going to change these as well to very long term. Oh wait, what am I doing? It's like this. Basically very long term, meaning I don't plan to sell it anytime soon and or ever. Right, so I think that's important to take into consideration there. Other than that, what am I doing? So I'm looking to liquidity farming, right? It's a whole topic. I'm not going to explain right now how it works. I'm still researching. I've done about 25 hours worth of research. So I do research the impermanent loss, the stable against other one. But basically my idea is just to put up the assets in my portfolio for liquidity and not make any gains on those coins, but instead make gains on the LP tokens provided in terms of APY, which might not be significant, but I think it's the best strategy with my personal strategy of long-term bearish pattern bridge period, right? Where I basically hold my NeoTokyos to get bites, which basically give me guaranteed revenue profits every single day. Then I do participate in the launches still whenever I find good projects, which might go in a bearish pattern market from, let's say, 30 launches a month to maybe 5 to 10 launches a month, right? And then I would have a consistently daily yield where I basically bridge the bearish pattern. As soon as the bearish pattern basically turns around, I would take that liquidity farming out because I don't really like that, but I like that more than not having my money work for me in any way, right? So that's something to consider. At the same time, it leaves me with a lot of time, right? So that's very important. I realized that I'm obviously going to, on my original plan, so the vesting drip, this is what I'm still doing, right? So the IDO private is what I have right here, specifically on AnyPad. And then the vesting gives me basically consistent rewards. And that is something I really like. So I can actually sketch that for you. I like to use this sketchpad lately. Which for me, this like visualization tool, it makes a lot of sense. So this is another advertising masterclass that I've been teaching for my other companies. All right, there we go. So I use this sketch tool a lot just because I like it. All right, so this is like the graph pattern, right? So this is basically 4 IDOs. What would happen is this is money and this is time, right? So I'll write time like this. And what happens with these IDOs, let's say you have some like milestones, your investment flow, which will do like a blue line, right, where you invest, is basically going like this, right? Sometimes you invest, sometimes you don't invest, sometimes you have some bigger investments, then sometimes you have a little bit of nothing, then invest, and it's like somewhat consistent, right? It goes like this. Every week you have some investments, right? What happens over time, so let's say we're talking about a year here, right? So this is basically 1 year over time. And that's what I'm experiencing right now, which I love about the IDO game. And people always say like the faster fasting, the better, because you can get your initial back. Yes, it depends how patient you are. And I've becoming more and more patient, where I always have been super impatient, right? So I also use a red line just to indicate this one, which means that over time, your monthly yield will grow due to the fasting being released, right? So at the moment, when I started in October, yeah, which is only like 4 months ago. 4 months ago, yeah. I started at 0, right? And now I'm at about 10K a month that I receive in just fasting amounts, right? Which is huge, because I believe that if I'm going to do this for the next 3 years, you know, there have been, I think, 7 projects that are now worth $0. The tokens just aren't worth anything. I did invest quite little. They were primarily meme pad projects, right? So meme projects, which makes sense. However, I also have about the equivalent 7 projects that did over 200x, right? And this is basically what you want to look for. So cross this and approve this, right? Which is basically some of my long-term strategy is taking benefit every time, take benefit on all these fasting, where you might not get the immediate return, but if you can get your initial back on the actual TGE, right, then you have amazing opportunity. So when we look at, let's say, AnyPad's recent launch, where I don't get why people didn't participate in it because it was fucking amazing, the Godzilla, right? They only raised $100,000, right? But a lot of people declined the long vesting period. So the vesting period was, let's say, 2.5% TGE, 12-month cliff, and a linear vesting across 16 months, something like this, long-term play, right? I put in $1,750, right? You can see investment amount. Why? Because if you look at this, what they're doing, the game studio, the team, the track record they have, they're going to destroy Falcon Forge. That's what I believe. This is like their main competitor upcoming. These guys been around for years. It's going to be an absolute massacre, maybe. But I do believe that for a like this could easily turn into $50,000, $100,000 after 1 year. Right? And I'm willing to part on my opportunity cost perspective that long with my funds for that type of return, right? That's why the vesting is that long, right? So the vesting is long for a specific reason. Things I'm never participating in anymore is 100% TGE projects. Anything that's 100% TGE, I'm not going to do because that's gambling. It's not for me. I'm looking primarily at, let's say, 10% linear or 10% TGE, 1 month cliff, linear daily vesting. Those are my favorites. Linear daily vesting makes the most sense because the risk is spread for the investors and the risk is spread for the project owners. There's never a consistent dumping going on. Everybody claims at different times. Nobody's going to claim every day. So yeah, that makes sense. So basically, this is my Launchpad strategy for the long term, which I do believe has tremendous potential, right? So definitely my favorite thing to do and to research still projects. I'm more of a Launchpad, IDO, private sale, strategic route kind of guy than I'm holding actual coins, right? I'm not much of a trader. I'm more of an investor, right? Different structures, really. That's what I would say. So the liquidity farming is something I would add in the bearish pattern, but not something I'm truly interested in exploring for the long term, right? So this is something that doesn't take me that much time. The research for YouTube, that takes the most time, right? This is something that takes a lot of time because you do need to keep up to date with the community and everything. This takes no time. This takes no time. Just like one minute a day just to read the announcements, and this takes time to learn, right? I wrote it down here. My main goal is knowledge, be active on Twitter and Discord, and provide value first. So that's what I've been doing. So my growth for YouTube is consistent, so that's all going quite well. So we have covered these things all. Let's talk about business time, which is also great. So I've been working on my own 2 projects, right? Let me copy the projects. My own projects, which is basically trackdigits.com and digitsclub.com, right? So Trackdigits is basically this, which is like a fasting tracking tool. I can show you. Oh, well, I don't have any tokens here, but we could make an example. You guys can't enter. It's only for pre-sale users, the public NFT mint. So you need to hold the Trackdigits NFT to get access. That will not happen on most likely March, April 2022, right? But I can give you an example, which would be quite funny. So let's say we're doing Cryo War, right? Cryo War, symbol, Sea War, fund round. Let's say we participated in the IDO. We go to crypto rank, and things like having coins automated in the database is something we're all looking at, but it's more of a long-term thing, right? We built this tool quite quickly, and now we're looking to expand it with the feedback of the pre-sale users, but it's already quite cool. So let's say we bought 10,000 tokens, right? The purchase price was this. The TGE happened 10th of November. 10th of November. I don't know if it's actually still in testing mode, because they did tell me because tomorrow the pre-salers will be onboarded into the beta, and they did tell me, if you're going to use it for a video, please let us know first. And now I'm going to use it without having told, okay, 0% unlock. All right, this one is probably the one we need. So 20% TGE, 13.33% monthly for 6 months. Okay, 20% TGE. And then 30.33 for monthly for 6 months. Let me see if that adds up to 100% because it has to be. So that's on Solana. We grab the contract address so we can pull in the price. Well, the Launchpad, I'm just going to do private for now. Doesn't matter in the claim link. I'm just going to do google.com/claim. Yeah, so it needs to be 100%, and this one is a little off. So let me just change the vesting a little bit, guys, to make it a little easy. So that would be 100%. 20% TGE, no, not 99.9, 20, and then 10% per month for 8 months. Should be good. It's tripping. Okay, let me just do 100% TGE, remove the vesting, just so I can show you guys. All right, perfect. So you can add all your coins and shit. You can connect your Google Calendar and it sends you notifications and stuff. We have some real-time data here, and basically it tracks the total value, the change, and the claims you can make, and then it has all your tokens that you have, and it will make a whole list of the activity, the chain, the charts, the claims. So this would go to the Solana Bird Eye, tools up Cryo War automatically. You can see the chart, all super cool, and you can add all your vesting basically. But we're beta testing this for about 3 months, bringing all kinds of cool updates, and this is what I'm keeping busy with, right? So I have a full development team for my company that I need to manage, and obviously about 200 people will test this for 3 months, and then we'll bring it to the market. 10,000 NFTs, right? So this will be an NFT collection that unlocks the software platform. Do not try to connect your wallet right now because it will not work. It's only for whitelisted wallets, like mine. And then the Digits Club is also NFT. This will open up quite soon. I will make a whitelist announcement. We're minting the pre-sale next week. So the Digits Club is basically what I learned from NeoTokyo, what I learned from Journey Club. I want to make a Launchpad IDO focused community. In addition, we can talk about NFTs, we can talk about other things, obviously, but it will be primarily focused on Launchpads, IDOs, maybe venture rounds, all this stuff inside my own club on Discord, which is called Digits Club, which you need an NFT to be a part of. Obviously, with these projects, I'm not going to do too much promo in this video about my own projects, but they take a lot of time, right? And I own more companies. So I own more businesses in which I need time, which is a great thing because let's say 3 of my other businesses, they take a lot of time, right? So let's say that's 2-3 hours a day. And I hired a managing director. Basically, I promoted one of the former employees to managing director to take care of that part of my business, which means that I get 2-3 hours a day, every single day, 7 days a week, which is, because today is Sunday, I'm at the office. Every day I'm at the office, which is 21 hours a week to add to my own projects, which means that I want to bring the best value possible wherever I can, and I feel that I was holding myself back by also being focused on these other companies. Obviously, I cannot ruin these companies because I took 6 years to build those companies, right? So you don't want to push them to the side. However, I didn't feel like I was the right person to lead those companies anymore while having this super cool opportunity to leverage this. So that was I was extremely happy about that this is now covered by somebody else who I'm training. So there's a 3-month transition period. Obviously, Trackdigits, 3 months until the public mint, right? It all lines up. And Digits Club is basically opening next week for the pre-salers. But this one is not live yet, the website. I think they're working on it right now as we speak, but I don't think it's uploaded yet. Nope. And Trackdigits is uploaded. So this will be uploaded later today. Digits Club, quite a cool landing page, cool NFT as well. You'll be able to see what it looks like and everything. But these things take a lot of time. So while the market is down, we're building, right? Which is very important, which is aligned with Alex Becker's philosophy, right? So that's why I know Alex Becker from a long time ago when he ran a company called Market Hero, email marketing software, because my specialty is digital advertising, right? I'm an advertising consultant from the start, and those are all my companies are in the advertising space that I own. But he did mention one thing is like market up or market down the other day, and I do love his tweets, although sometimes he's a little retarded. But he said like market up or market down, the builders still get paid, and the builders who build gaming, he's talking specifically about gaming metaverse, something I'm looking at, but I don't really have experience building video games or nothing like that. So maybe more of a longer term plan. I'm just focused on the software and the communities for now. But I do believe that it's extremely, extremely important that strong people build the foundation of this ever-evolving market that's so hyped right now. And I'm blessed that you guys trust me, put your faith, at least all the pre-sale people, put your faith in me to deliver that. And that's basically what I'm focused on. So if the bear market would turn into a 4 to 6 month, let's say everybody's wrong and Bitcoin will not rebound to 50, 60K, right? To pull in another bull run. That's fine with me because I have my whole setup if that would happen, right? I have my long-term NFT plays, I have the Launchpads, I have the stable coins, I have the long-term gaming projects, I have the liquidity farm to focus on my own projects and my other businesses, where my own projects take the most time, and these things take time, right? No matter how fast you want to build things, good things take time to build. You are reliant on other people, you need to train people, manage people. It is so much more than just making an NFT collection with no utility, right? Which I see all too often. I've been hating from the start on NFTs without utility, so I can never bring an NFT myself with no utility, right? All the NFTs that I'm bringing have advanced perk systems, layering, stacking of the NFTs. It's extremely difficult, all the tokenomics. I have tweeted about it in the past that I was breaking my mind on the fucking tokenomics, but I had to finalize them. So here, who knew deciding on tokenomics for your own product would be this difficult? I changed the tokenomics like 26 times because I wanted to be fair, but also powerful and also leveraged and also opportunity rich for new holders, old holders, but most benefit to the early guys. It's a whole nightmare, but I learned an extreme amount, and that's why these things take time. Long story short, right? So my focus for the bearish pattern is to focus on, well, I don't need to focus on this. I'm part of this now, right? Part of the knowledge enrichment phase. Connect with high profile individuals, provide all the value that I can from my own community and from my own perspective, my opinion, keep creating YouTube content for free, distribute it to hopefully entertain, not financial advice, entertain the masses while learning myself as much as I can. Keep consistent with the launchpads, with the IDOs, but be a little bit more selective in the project that I pick during the bearish pattern. Hold a lot of stable coins until the market shift indicates this would be a 5-10% bump, where I indicate the rally to start. But sometimes when good opportunities arise on coins, even let's say Cryo War at $1, I thought that was a great opportunity. Right now it's at 50 cents. Everybody's like, oh, you bought too early, but I rather buy too early than too late, and I rather sell too early than too late, right? Should have, would have, could have, it doesn't matter. All that matters is what you actually did, right? So that's definitely what I'm focused on. Then I'm going to explore liquidity farming. It will take me about 2 to 4 weeks before I can even make a video on it, because I do understand it, but I want to understand it more, better. I want to try it first, right? And then obviously my own projects. You will see several updates on this. The whitelists will open soon. If you're not in the Discord, make sure to join because the information drops there first. And of course, I have my other businesses to take care of. So this is basically my plan for the bear market, full of opportunity. We will cover more gaming projects along the way. So stay tuned for the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.